Dr. Zakir, could you explain to me what the punishment in Islam is regarding homosexuality? And could you clear up a small issue relating to the so-called gay gene, which is scientists are speaking about now? Many homosexuals consider this, it's almost a divine right for them to practice homosexuality. Is this correct? Is it genetic? What's your advice?
As far as the Islamic punishment for homosexuality is concerned, Allah speaks in the Quran and the Messenger speaks in the Hadith in several verses talking about homosexuality. Allah says in the Quran in Surah Araf, chapter number 7, verse number 80 as well as 81. Allah says, He speaks about the story of Lut alayhi salam. And Lut alayhi salam says to his people that, do you practice lewdness which no one before in the creation had ever done? That means, do you practice lewdness, such a thing, which no one in creation had ever done before? And do you lust after men in preference to women? That means, talking to the men, that do you run after men, have lust for men in preference to women? A similar message is repeated in Surah Ankabut, chapter number 29, verse number 28 and 29, where Lut alayhi salam, he says to his people that, do you practice lewdness such that no other people in the creation had ever done before? And do you approach men and cut off highways? Again, talking about homosexuality. And the punishment that Allah gives for such people is mentioned in Surah Hud, chapter number 11, verse number 82. And Allah says that He turns the cities upside down. The city of Lut alayhi salam, Sodom and Gomorrah, He turns these cities upside down. And He brings a hail of brimstone, of hard-baked clay, layer after layer. And as far as punishment for an individual person who commits homosexuality, it's mentioned in Sunan Abu Dawud, volume number 3, in the book of Hudud, hadith number 4447, where the Prophet Muhammad said that anyone who does the sin of people of Lut alayhi salam, he should be put to death. The person who does it and the person on whom it is done. So homosexuality is forbidden in Islam, and the punishment for homosexuality is death. As far as the second part of the question is concerned, that is homosexuality genetic? There was a research done some 15-20 years back in the early 90s, where there were a group of scientists who suggested that homosexuality is genetic. Afterwards, when more research was done, it was proven that the research is totally wrong, and the person who first propounded this research, he himself was homosexual. And there are several articles written against homosexuality being genetic. If you read the article of 6th of April, year 2004, in lifestylenews.com, there's an article written that Born or Bred, talking about homosexuality, by Robert Knight. And this was mainly done by a concern of group of American women who tried to prove that homosexuality is not genetic because they were concerned. Robert Knight, he has picked up various articles from different scientists and different people in the field and proved that homosexuality was not genetic. He even quotes Dr. Robert Spitzer in lifesitenews.com, who is the professor of psychiatry in the Columbia University in USA. He proves that homosexuality is not genetic. And in 1973, he removed from the American Psychiatric Association list, which was mentioned, that homosexuality is a mental illness. He proved it wrong and removed it from the list. It's not a mental illness. And he did research, and he gave advice to more than 200 people, homosexuals, and after advice, many of them left homosexuality. The person who first said that homosexuality was genetic was Dean Hammer, who was from America, National Institute of Health. And he did a research on 40 pairs of homosexuals. And he said that there was a gay gene which were responsible for homosexuality being genetic. Later on, Dr. George Rice, he tried to repeat this experiment of Dean Hammer, and he took 52 pairs of homosexuals. But unfortunately, he could not find any gay gene. And when it was proved that homosexuality was genetic was a fallacy, then Hammer said that, the sample was bigger, therefore they could not find, my sample was small, and he gave excuses. And later on, many scientists and many psychiatrists and many researchers did research, and they found it without doubt that homosexuality was not genetic. And even Dr. Alan Sanders of National Institute of Health, the same institute where Dean Hammer came from, he did research and presented the paper on the 1st of June 1998 in Toronto in the psychiatric conference, and he proved without doubt that homosexuality was not genetic. So, but natural, it can't be genetic, and sin cannot be inherited. That's not the concept of Islam. It's a concept of Christianity and other religions. But in Islam, no bearer of burden can bear the burden of others. So, but natural, no sin can be inherited, and neither homosexuality can be inherited.